Have you ever asked yourself why some breakups leave a faint scar while others feel like your heart has been split open? Why do certain goodbyes linger for years while others fade quietly in the rear-view mirror of our lives? The truth is, not all love stories are built the same, so neither are the breakups. Some breakups hurt more because they weren't just about love, they were about identity. When someone becomes a part of your routine, your dreams, your sense of home, losing them feels like losing a piece of yourself. You're not just mourning the person, you're mourning who you were with them, the version of you that laughed louder, dreamed bigger, or simply felt seen in a way no one else ever made you feel. Some breakups hurt more because of the hope you had. Hope is powerful. It's what keeps people holding on even when things are falling apart. Maybe you believed they were the one, or maybe you had planned a future so vividly it felt real. And when those plans collapse, it's not just the relationship that ends, it's the imagined life you created in your mind, that silent house, those future children, the vacations that now will never be. Sometimes it's not the length of the relationship, but the depth. Even a short-lived connection can wreck you if it was intense, raw, and vulnerable. And when it ends, it doesn't just leave you empty. It makes you question if it was ever real, or if you were the only one feeling it all. And other times, breakups hurt because they were never explained. The absence of closure becomes a haunting loop of questions. Was I not enough? Did they ever love me? Why didn't they fight for me? Those unanswered questions hurt more than the good by itself. But the deepest pain often comes when we lose someone who accepted us at our worst. The ones who saw the broken parts and stayed until they didn't. Because it's hard to believe you're lovable when even the person who understood your darkness chooses to leave. Some breakups hurt more because they break not just your heart, but your belief in love. They challenge everything you thought you knew about connection, loyalty, and forever. They don't just end a chapter, they burn the whole book, leaving you terrified to start writing again. When a breakup happens, it's easy to think you're just losing another person, but the truth goes far deeper than that. In many cases, you're losing a version of yourself that only existed with them. The way they looked at you, the way you laughed together, the dreams you dared to dream in their presence, those weren't just passing moments, they shaped you. When someone becomes so intertwined with your daily routine, with your sense of safety and comfort, their absence doesn't just create a void, it disrupts your identity. You start questioning who you are without them, where you belong, and what remains of the life you built around them. It's not just heartbreak, it's disorientation. People often underestimate how much of their self-worth, confidence, and even sense of purpose can get attached to someone they love. When that person leaves, it's not just their absence you're grieving, it's the person you were when they were still there. Maybe they made you feel more alive, more wanted, more seen than anyone ever had. So when it ends, you're not just left alone. You're left trying to reconstruct yourself from scattered pieces. This is why moving on can feel impossible at times. You're not just letting go of them. You're trying to remember who you were before they entered your life and hoping you can rebuild someone even stronger. You might find yourself searching through old messages, pictures, or songs, not just to remember them, but to remember yourself in those moments. The comfort of being known and loved so deeply can blur the line between who you are and who you were with them. This kind of identity loss isn't something people talk about enough, but it's one of the most painful parts of some breakups. It's the silent grief of becoming a stranger to yourself. One of the most painful parts of a breakup is not just losing the person, but losing the future you imagined with them. Love often comes bundled with plans, conversations about where you'll live, what kind of home you'll build, what your children might look like, the adventures you'll take, and even the quiet moments you'd grow old together sharing. These dreams don't live in the distant future. They begin to shape your present. You start making decisions with that shared vision in mind. You make sacrifices, compromises, and investments based on a life that feels certain, even if it's still just unfolding. And then, suddenly, it's all gone. It doesn't just feel like a relationship ended, it feels like a life ended. You're left walking through the ruins of your own plans, haunted by the echoes of what could have been. Everything reminds you of the future you had envisioned, from simple things like your favorite restaurant to deeper things like your career choices or living arrangements. You feel like you're constantly bumping into the ghost of a life you'll never get to live. The worst part is, the world moves on while you're stuck grieving a reality that never happened. People tell you to let go, but they don't realize you're letting go of more than a person. You're letting go of years you thought were guaranteed. You replay conversations where they promised forever, where you talked about growing together, where they made you believe in something lasting. And as those dreams die quietly in your mind, you're not just heartbroken, you're disillusioned. The pain isn't just emotional, it's existential. You start to doubt your ability to trust again, to hope again, to dream again. You question whether it's even safe to believe in a future with someone ever again. Not all breakups are defined by how long the relationship lasted. Some are shaped by how deeply it was felt. There are times when a connection is so intense, so emotionally raw, that even a short span of time creates an impact that lingers far beyond the final goodbye. These are the relationships where walls fall quickly, where vulnerability is met with acceptance, and where conversations feel like they've skipped years of formality. When someone sees through your layers so effortlessly, it doesn't take months or years to form a bond. It can happen in weeks, even days. The depth of emotion isn't measured by time, it's measured by truth, by how much of yourself you allowed to be seen, and by how much of them you let in. So when that ends, it's not just confusing, it's devastating. You find yourself justifying why it hurts so much, telling yourself it wasn't that long or that serious, but your heart disagrees. The emotional imprint they left behind doesn't care about calendars or timelines. It only knows what it felt. People around you might not understand. They might minimize your pain because from the outside it didn't look like much, but inside it was everything. That person became your safe space, your mirror, your moment of clarity in a world that often feels too loud and too fast. And letting that go feels like letting go of a part of your soul that finally felt understood. The sudden absence is more than loneliness. It's like being pulled out of a dream you weren't ready to wake up from. The ache comes from remembering how complete you felt in their presence and how quickly that feeling disappeared. You're left wondering if something so real could end so quickly, or if it ever truly existed at all. One of the reasons some breakups are harder to move past is because they come with no explanation, no answers, and no closure. The silence can be louder than any argument, more painful than any harsh truth. You're left with a mind full of questions that circle endlessly, trying to solve a puzzle that no longer has all its pieces. Why did it happen? Was it something you said, something you did, something you didn't do? You analyze every moment, every conversation, replaying them like old tapes, hoping to find that one clue that will make it all make sense. But the clarity never comes, and in its place grows self-doubt. You begin to question your worth, your value, your ability to be loved. When someone walks away without giving you the respect of a goodbye or an explanation, it's not just heartbreak. It's confusing on a soul, deep level. It interrupts your healing because closure is what helps people move forward. Without it, you remain emotionally stuck, trying to write an ending to a story that was never finished. The pain isn't just about missing the person, it's about not understanding why they stopped choosing you. It feels like abandonment, and the emotional wound is left open, unable to heal because there's no real ending to grieve. Friends may tell you to just let go, to move on, but they don't see the inner war happening between your head and your heart. The head wants to make sense of it, but the heart is still waiting for something that may never come. This kind of emotional limbo can be just as exhausting as it is painful. It lingers, quietly shaping how you trust others and how you see yourself in future relationships. Often without you even realizing it, there's a unique kind of heartbreak that comes when the person who once accepted every broken, imperfect part of you chooses to leave. When someone sees your flaws, your fears, your past wounds, and still chooses to stay, it creates a sense of safety that few experiences in life can replicate. You begin to believe that maybe you're not too much, maybe you are lovable even in the messiest corners of your soul. So when that person leaves, it doesn't just hurt. It feels like betrayal, not just of love, but of understanding. They were the ones who said they'd never run. They were the ones who held your hand through the darkness and told you it didn't scare them. So when they go, it sends a message louder than any goodbye, that even the person who knew the worst of you, decided you, weren't worth staying for. And that kind of rejection seeps deep into your bones. It's the kind of pain that doesn't just break your heart, it shakes your foundation. You start to wonder if anyone will ever truly stay. If the one who knew everything still walked away, what chance do you have with someone who's just getting to know you? It can make you retreat into yourself, afraid to show your real face again. The fear of being too much or not enough grows stronger, and the next time someone offers love, you may hesitate, not because you don't want it, but because you're terrified of feeling that kind of abandonment again. The memory of someone once embracing your pain, only to eventually add to it, becomes a scar you carry silently. You grieve the comfort of being fully seen, and you fear you might never find that kind of acceptance again without losing it just as painfully.